Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another edition of Well Worded. It is Sunday, February 22nd, 2015, and tonight, we're doing a special edition of Well Worded. About a week ago, a week and a half ago, the poetry community lost a very important person, a special person, a spirit that cannot be replaced. Chantay Legacy Leonard from Detroit passed away. She touched many people across the nation, and today we're actually being joined by people from across the nation. We have Tabitha Brown, also known as Succinct, coming out of San Diego, California. We have Scorpiana X, Lynn, who is coming out of San Jose, California. We have Jessica Care Moore, who's from Detroit, which is Legacy's hometown. And we also have Dana Stuckey. Am I saying your last name right, Dana?
Yep.
Dana Stuckey, who is Legacy's sister. And later on, we may even be hearing from a few words from Legacy's mother, who's going to join us. So what we're going to do with this episode is we're going to share poems that Legacy has written, and we're going to share poems, if my guests want to, that were inspired by Legacy or that they wrote with Legacy, and then we're going to share some stories about her. And as I speak about often, poets stay immortal through their writing, and this is how we stay alive forever. And Shakespeare is still alive today because we still read his work, we still discuss it in classes, in coffee shops, and things like that. And I think that's really important. And with as good of a person that Chantay was, and you know, we're not just saying that, like, she really was a good person. You could, even through online, through social media and all these different mediums, you could feel it. It was that palpable with her. Her spirit was that great. We want to make sure we celebrate her. So before I get to my guest, what I want to do is I want to read something that someone put up today. Amani, who's a fellow poet and was a friend of Chantay's, flew from Baltimore out to Detroit. And she put this on her Facebook page maybe about an hour before we began this broadcast. And she said, "This weekend confirmed how truly blessed I am to have known Chantay, to have laughed with her, cried with her, shared pieces of myself that only she understood, loved her, been loved by her. She is honestly one of the most selfless people I know. And although losing her on this earth realm hurts, I understand, and I have made a vow to add a little more legacy to my life. What does that look like? Well, imagine someone battling brain cancer, yet calling to make sure you are okay. Imagine someone who loses her hair, but turns into one of the flyest hairstylists you've ever seen, with a beautiful smile to match, as if nothing was wrong. She understood a lot of things that we don't. True to herself, grace and fire, that's just how she was. And I am going to embody those attributes until I leave this earth. She carried us, and now it's up to us to carry her legacy. Spread it through love, through poems, through honesty, through laughter, through family, through community, through compassion, through charity, through being fabulous. I'm so grateful that she allowed me into her world. Legacy taught me a lot, but what stands out the most is how she always reminded me not to apologize for being who I am, not to look for validation from other people, and especially not no man. Laugh out loud. She always reminded me that I was enough. I've always wanted a big sister, but now I realize I was blessed with one 10 years ago. Love and blessings. Rest in peace, Legacy." So I thought it was important because Amani wanted to join us but couldn't. She's actually in Chicago on a layover flight heading home from the memorial. So Amani, thank you for allowing me to share that on the broadcast. So I would like to start real quick with Dana Stuckey, who is Legacy or Chantay's sister. And in the pre-show, we had my guests were sharing with us their stories of Chantay. So what I'd like to do to start off is, Dana, do you have a poem ready from Legacy's book that you'd like to share?
Yes. When I first went through her book, I think one of my favorites was towards the end. It's called Fine by Me. Um, so you want me to go?
Yeah, yeah. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Fine by Me. Standing before the mirror, pretending that my imperfections aren't 30 pounds more magnified than is healthy for my height. Tell me I'm beautiful, even after a pint of Haagen-Dazs and spicy Doritos. Soothe the cramps from moon cycles unkind. It is my thankless task to be a woman. I am not a femme fatale. Some days I am too exhausted to be more than a brown-skinned broad, unsnapping my bra and letting my breasts hang low, tossing my granny panties on the floor while humming Erica Badu's Clever. Sex is raw and hot in a thong or ashy skin. I don't always lotion after showering. My man loves me just as I am, no added peanut. I preserve the best parts of womanhood for the love of myself. I do the art of you beautifully, even on the days I feel very in this world, unattractive, undesirable, uninspired, unappreciated, unstable to make a difference in the cosmetic drama that is my life. In these moments, I sit from the wine glass slow and light a dejeuner, contemplate the beauty of, I'm sorry, contemplating the beauty of being a comfort woman. T-shirt stretched across my breast that shout, do not bleach. Prop my feet on the edge of the universe, making peace with me, myself, and I, which is just fine by me. Love it.
And can you repeat the title of the poem again?
Fine by me.
Fine by me. And this may sound weird, but can you show the book to the camera so people can see? Because the book is still being sold, and we're going to get all that information out to everyone. And that's by Chantay Legacy Leonard. So in the pre-show, Dana, you were telling us that you were Chantay's first audience.
Yes.
What what was that like? Because I really want to spend the show celebrating this woman, and I also want to hear stories about how when she first started off. How was she in terms of her poetry? Did you think, girl, you can't do this, or were you thinking, wow, there's something special here that she has?
It didn't really. I know me and Chantay. There's about a 4.5, 5 year gap between me and Chantay. And for me, she wasn't Chantay. She wasn't Legacy. That was Tay. That was my big Tay. That's how it always was. And for me, it started off as short stories. She used to write these little short stories when she was like in 7th and 8th grade, and for a while we like shared a bed. And she would just come over and she would keep me awake with these weird stories, but I loved them. And I remember one of them where it was two cousins and they fell in love. It was like a short story going long story. And I would just wake up every night like it was this one guy named Ramon, and it was like this other girl, and they didn't even know they were cousins, and they fell in love. It's like, what 7th grader thinks of this? And I'm in the 3rd grade or whatever. And it was intriguing because I'm sitting up listening to a baby soap opera, like it was just stuff. And I didn't really understand poetry like that. There's not a creative bone in my body. But she was always my imagination. That's what made it, special. It was just that she would come up with stuff, and it was always like trigger imagination. We had these fascinations with ponies, and she would take this little fake recorder, what was it, the little record player, and she would make a My Little Pony circle. Like it would just the My Little, how a carousel rotates. She would put the My Little Ponies on there and have them rotate, and it was like the carousel for our Barbie dolls. It was good times. Like I'm not an imaginative person, but it felt realistic because she always had this bursting personality.
Yeah. So the next question I want to ask you is that Chantay in her writing and in her social media, everything that she put out as an artist, as a public intellectual, public speaker, she always came across like she was lighthearted, like she cared, about people, like she was thoughtful, all of these things. So was that really her, or was that just a sensationalized side of her, or was this really the person, the poet legacy that we got? Was that, do you believe, a real reflection of who Chantay was?
Oh, that was only the beginning of it. I can say, I know one question they asked yesterday was, what part of Legacy did you know? Did you know Chantay? Did you know Tay? One thing that was consistent throughout all, because Chantay has always been a chameleon. She goes somewhere and there's always a part of her that bursts. And so that's why she had to have all these subcategories, because it was so much of her. But one thing that was consistent was just her love for people, her love for the community. That was a value that was instilled in all of us growing up. My mother's children were all 29 and up. So all of us do some type of community work, and Chantay was very, that just came through her arts and her activism. But yeah, that's definitely an accurate depiction of who she is as a person.
Yeah, and it felt genuine, and I pretty much felt you were gonna say yes, but I had to put it out there, and had to ask. There was always something very genuine that came across about Legacy, and I think that's the number one thing that always sticks out to me whenever I've thought about her, was just she seemed genuine. She seemed very, very genuine. For those who are watching, whether you're watching the live stream or whether you're watching the recorded version, in the description of the video there is a link to a GoFundMe page. If you could donate to that, please do. It is going to Legacy's family. And if you can't, if it's hard times, I understand. At the very least, please do the social media, share the link, put it out there. And we're also going to get information about Chantay's book so that we can put it out there. And I know that her mother's going to come on a little later and share some information about what's going to happen in the future with Chantay's work. So Dana, we're gonna come back to you. Hope you stick around. We're gonna come back to you. What I'd like to do now is go out to San Diego, where we have Tabitha Brown, aka Succinct, joining us. And Tabitha, do you have a poem ready, either written by Legacy or by you, that was inspired by her?
I do have a poem by Legacy, and I want to say that this is a hip-hop poetry throwback from Chantay Legacy Leonard, and I'm going to go ahead and share that with all of you. It's called A Woman's Truth. Because I am more than a survivor, I have flirted with razor blades, metallic kisses at wrist, tender veins, pulsing in delicate ribbons. I have contemplated a flight from life with just one click of the sharp edge, only to have my courage fail. The last strand of my pride saved me from a coward's death. I have drank liquor, popped pills, and smoked herbs to distance nightmares and night sweats, remembering vividly what I try to forget. My body has been a war zone, combating cancer, depression, rape, bleeding daily for a year, issues with subscriptions and prescriptions, nerves gritting teeth with every situation life pitted against me, trails of tears, broken hopes and forsaken dreams, moments it seemed I should give up, stop fighting and fall victim. Something raged inside, spirit rebelling like Mustang steeds, broken, coasting on the prayers of mothers, simple salvation of poems, penning pain until it became one long soliloquy of struggle. Yet I am not defeated, I am not dead, I have not lowered my head or bowed my back for the breaking. This is a woman's truth. I am more than a survivor. In spite of the visible scars, wounded womb, foul flashbacks, and fear rising as a fetid stench to nostrils flaring wide in resistance, I bear the tale of warrior women, mouth rounded with wisdom gleaned from my suffering. I shed the layers of insecurity openly so that my skin bears witness to truth. I am the color girl that considered suicide. I live in spite of the rainbow. I am the woman who found her healing, not at the other's whims, but by clutching the hem of strength and faith, learning to hold on for just one more day until the sunrise breaks new. Each day brings me closer to being the woman I desire to be. This is a woman's truth. I am more than a survivor.
Nice. You know
She
what I really
was
like?
so amazing. She
Yeah,
it blows my mind at how beautiful and amazing this woman was, and the audacity she had to leave so early. You know, she just
Yeah, what I really like about the poem that you read was that it wasn't a woe is me poem. It's like, look, these are the things that have been thrown at me, and I'm a fighter, and this is how I'm surviving with it, and I'm gonna deal with it. It gives strength. So, why did you choose to share that poem, or what about that poem resonates
you
within
just
you?
said something so important. I was going over, like, looking back at old text messages and old Facebook messages and thinking of conversations that me and Chantay have had with each other. And no matter how down she may have been about certain aspects of her life, Chantay was never a woe is me type of woman. Like, she never was. She always, I don't care how bad things were for Chantay, she always found a silver lining somewhere, and she was always gonna remind you of your silver lining too. Like, now we both can't be down. Like, one of us gotta be all right. So get your shit together, because we both can't be feeling like this. Or just, I was reading back like messages, and like when she first started dating her fiance, I remember she was talking to me about it, and she was like, you know, I feel so full, Tabby. Like, she always called me Tabby Cat. She's the only person on this planet that called me Tabby Cat and get away with it. I'm just go ahead and say
that. So we can't call you that. Okay.
But you know, she was just talking about love and being fulfilled, and like, no matter, you know, how hard things are, whatever you're going through as lovers or whatever, like, you always got to think about the big picture. And Chantay was so much about the big picture. I feel like even, you know, at her sickest, you know, at her most down, Chantay was checking in with us and how y'all doing and what y'all got going on, and hey sis, and hey sis that, and hey, you know, just, you would have never known. And I think this poem, and comparing it to how beautiful and amazing and strong Chantay was, even when she recognized, you know, that she was weak physically, that she was going through things physically and emotionally, she always had a silver lining. She always had a fight in her, no matter what it was.
Yeah, that seems to, that, you know, we're only 20 minutes into this, and that seems to be the running line, because even what I had started to show off with what Amani had said, it's very much in line with what you said and the poem that you shared of hers. So yeah, we lost a good one. So we're gonna get back to Tabitha. I want to go over now to our third guest, Miss Jessica Care Moore, who just came in from a show. She's out in Detroit. So Jessica, do you have a poem ready that Legacy wrote, or something that's in line with her life or inspired by her?
Well, I have a piece that I wrote for her, but I'm going to read, I don't know how much time we have, so I'm just going to read a piece that is out of her book, I Have Come Forth by Day. And I just want to say, Dana, it's so hard for me to hear your voice. It's nice to hear your voice reading your sister's poems, but every time Dana opens her mouth, it's a little difficult for me. So Legacy was an amazing, amazing woman, and very special to me and my son, and we miss her a lot. And so this is her poem, A Jazz Sabbath. And Pharoah Sanders serenades me on this Sunday morning. My fingers and toes are teal, brazen red dress, lemon neon parakeets trilling, tip-tapping keys. She had in birds. Okay, tip-tapping keys time with this jazz flowing from speakers. Like, God, this is the day I reserve for myself. Uncertain whether or not I have ever kept a Sabbath holy as a grown woman, more familiar with sinful Saturday nights, a decade since I have had Sunday morning regrets, allow preachers' purification with brimstone and fire, lay hands on my inability to stay chaste, virtuous woman. I am not cranberry vodka woman. I am sweating seductively on a bar top, Billy's blues with a gardenia tucked in locks, having known grandma's hands, unapologetic for things I accept about myself, loving recklessly without safety nets. Fallen woman, God still smiles on me, his wayward child. Poems are sermons for the living. We are psalms on bass strings, raucous hallelujah choruses in a horn section. Even God snaps his fingers, nods, and finds it good on earth as it is in heaven. So that's, yeah, that's
nice.
Like,
Nice.
I know, right?
she's a bad poet. Let me just say that, because she's a bad poet, and she's the youngest poet on my press. So it's incredible for me, you know, for us, you know, like I remember when Asha Bandeli was my first poet on the press, and Asha, who was a mentor for me and for Legacy, we both loved her work, and I said, Legacy, you're going to be like the second woman on the press, and Asha was the first, and you know, how amazing is that, you know, for me and for her. So I'm just honored that I was a part of her journey in some kind of way. I don't put More Black Press, my logo, on anybody's books. I don't take any of that lightly. The people on the press are Saul Williams and Danny Simmons and Asha Bandeli. You know, these are Raz Baraka. These are some of the best poets in the country. And so she had a family with More Black Press, a family of poets that loved her, that knew her work. And she's the only woman poet out of Detroit that I wanted to publish. She was the fiercest. And it was just not just about her poems, it was about her walk. It was the way that she loved people, that she wasn't a small thinking person, that she saw herself. I remember saying, don't say I'm a local poet. I've been published in this journal and that journal. I performed in California. I've been all over Missouri. I've been all over through Ohio. I've been through Atlanta. I've been doing this work as a poet, you know, and holding down a really incredible job at the American Red Cross. And I participated in her bone marrow drives and her 5K runs that kicked my butt, you know, because it was this obstacle course. I'd never done the obstacle course from before. And I was like, what is this uphill, downhill thing? And, you know, she's beautiful, though. I had my son, which I have him all the time. So she would babysat King so I could do the run for her. And she was just, like, constantly giving to everybody else. And so, you know, if any way being published on More Black Press and having her book in print made her feel any kind of way or did something to lift her up in some kind of way, I'm so honored to have been a part of it, and honored to call her friend. It's a big, big void for me as a woman. There's few women that I trust with any real information, and she and her sister will tell you is one of just those people that you could just be yourself with. You could tell her, I could tell she knew all my business, all of it. Like, I know and I got a lot of good stuff. You know, I could tell her any date I went on with any fabulous dude that isn't fabulous anymore. You know, like I could tell her and she was both Scorpions. So we love hard and we have fabulous romances and nobody gets it. And so, you know, I don't even drink. I've been drinking wine, you know, just because I feel like somebody got to drink her wine for her. So I've been trying to drink wine. I can't drink. I got so drunk the other day. Oh God, I was messed up 4 o'clock in the afternoon trying to drink some red wine. I was like, I don't know how she did this, but I'm going to try. But, you know, it's beautiful because I'm going to see my mama Sonja Sanchez, who I know she loved a lot, on Wednesday. So I took a picture. They had beautiful pictures on the table at the memorial service, and I took a picture of the one of her and Sonja. So I'm going to give it to Sonja. And so, you know, one of her mothers, literary mothers, will, you know, have that picture and you know, hold her in her spirit too. So it's a big loss for Detroit. I know she touched poets all over the country. I know she had family in other societies and groups she belonged to, but she was our baby. And I don't know, she's irreplaceable. So we have to just keep her work alive and keep supporting her voice and reading her poems, and it helps. So thank you for having me.
Oh, no, thank you for joining us. And before I move on, I have one more question for you. If there is one thing you would like fellow poets to take away, to be inspired by, to be influenced by through Legacy's work, what would that one thing? What is the one thing that stood out to you, that influenced you, inspired you about her work?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you, Jessica.
She's all about the craft. She was a serious poet. She performed and she did slams and things like that, but she took herself seriously enough. You know, to say, Jessica, I have a manuscript. You know, and it wasn't her only manuscript, and her family would tell you that she's got, you know, poets always have a gazillion poems. But she took herself serious enough to call me, to call Aurora Harris, to call Sabrina Nelson, to call Kari Kamani Turner, to call people that she respected in the community and say, I want to put a book out. And, you know, some poets tend to want to go do CDs or whatever, and all that is good. But it takes a different kind of courage to put your work on the page and say, my work is good enough and deserves to be bound by a book. And she took herself seriously as a poet and an activist. That she wasn't just writing about it, she was being that woman. She was an amazing, amazing woman at 35 years old. I can only hope to be so fabulous one day, to just have her shoe collection in my size would make my life better. I'm like, and she came walking up in some more fly boots. I mean, you know, we had a book release party at Soul Sisters, which used to be a black-owned shoe store downtown Detroit that's now gone, unfortunately. But, you know, it was only fitting that she had a book release party at a shoe store. And so she was a woman of style in every way, you know, inside out. But she never showed up. I mean, I would show up. You would catch me at somewhere, and I'd be looking right. Baseball hat, you know, my mama yoga pants. I'm just not mad that I ran into somebody cute. But she always looked, I never seen her look, even at the gym, she was together. Her hair wrap was fly, you know. And, yeah, she was just a woman's woman. Very lucky to be in her presence at some point, that's for sure.
Awesome, awesome. So I hope you can stick around because I want to make sure I come back to everyone once again. So now we're going to go out to San Jose, California, where we're going to hear from Lynn, Scorpiana X, who, just like Tabitha, had met Legacy through hiphoppoetry.com, which is a website that used to be up, and it was forums, and we would write and stuff like that. So Scorpiana, do you have a poem ready?
Yeah, you know, one of the biggest honors I think any writer goes through is when there's a poet who you are just in awe of and they agree to collaborate on a poem with you. And I, like, one day just out of the blue, like, I called her and I was like, I wrote like 5 lines of a poem and I would love it if you would do this poem with me. And she was like, yeah, and I was like all excited. So this is called Unnameable. I do not look like my past, no resemblance to the girl that you never got to know, nor am I a reflection on my future. But that's another story for another day, another page, another poem. Right now, the fact remains, you do not know me. I am the refusal to checkmark the box. I am the classification that does not exist. I am the unknown and unspoken for. I am the identity that won't reveal itself for fear of being subjected and erased simultaneously. I am an exception to the rule. I am the myth waiting to be failed. I am glass ceilings crashing, collapsing corporate ladders, ending monopolies. I am the lives rising from the ashes. I am the unnameable. I was the girl you placed under red tape and status quo in an attempt to suffocate greatness, and now I am the woman with the letter on her chest proving you wrong at every turn until your head spins like the lies you told to keep me rooted in barren soil. Oh, but I have lost that fear of flying, the fear of defying your status quo. No man parcels out my soul. I am the woman who scorns attempts to clip my wings, attempts to box my being. And I will become your worst nightmare if I haven't already. See, I will approach little women hanging on street corners, already slaves to your game, and embrace them with wisdom. Feed them justice and sisterhood, blow air into their lungs so they may in turn scream. And if at first they turn away, I will remind them. I am no longer the girl that I used to be, the little girl. I used to be you. And one day, you will be me. And see, movements will be born of street corners and beauty shops. I will nourish minds and watch you try to stop me. I will raise crops of defiant daisies, daring to face the sun without apologies, embedding footprints on the planet with purpose found. no longer trapped in adolescent angst, begging for your approval, wounds promising renewal. I am a woman authoring the future, freeing minds one snap barrier at a time. And maybe when this job is done, the seeds are planted to grow into fruit, I will turn my eyes to the boys and teach them to be men, real men, strong men in a way you never could because I can. Did I mention you do not know me? I am the unnameable.
Nice. And that's a poem you collaborated on with her?
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So the question that I have for you concerning Chantay is because most of your interactions with her was through the phone or online. How that I don't, I guess maybe I'm playing devil's advocate here, and I don't know, but how was it possible that you could feel such a strong connection with someone through the telephone, through online? Like what was it about Legacy that came through that kind of a medium, and you felt that sincerity from her? You felt a feeding of your spirit with her.
It's funny because like all the women in the Strange Fruit, for the longest time, like none of us had met each other in person. And, online you just kind of form these like light friendships that are kind of more based on, I like your poetry, it's dope, and we're politically on the same wavelength, and things are really light. And then you start talking on the phone, and sometimes, like, I don't know how it is for other people, but I think, like, I was going through a period where I had, like, so isolated myself from my local community that these women, like, really all of them, Amani, Jessica, Tabitha, like, all these women became, like, my lifeline. And I remember the first time I got to meet everybody in public at it was at the HHP Bash in 2007, and we had all flown in early to start rehearsing together. And my biggest fear was that these women who already felt like sisters to me, that I would meet them in public and they wouldn't be the same people, like, so I was really scared because I was like, I'm gonna walk away from this. And it was weird because everybody was who they were on the phone. Like, they were exactly the same, except now, like, you can look at them face to face, you can hug them. Like, Chantay, like, everything, like, how she is on the phone, she's everything in person, but a step better because you can steal each other's earrings and, drink glasses of wine together and stumble down the street in Columbus, Ohio at 2 o'clock in the morning, like, drunk off your asses, both tottering on heels you can't walk in, spitting poems to people you randomly would stop on the street. Like, so it's weird, but I don't think necessarily, like, you could just randomly get that closeness with just anybody on the phone. I think there was just something really special about, like, all 7 of the other women. Yeah, like, I only really got to hang out with her once a year. Like, Wowwith was our big thing, our big trip, and those, like, 5 days a year, like, could really keep you going through the rest of the year.
Yeah. So you felt truly fed by simply talking with her, by simply sharing conversations with her. That her spirit was that big that it could translate through the phone and online, and that's what's and I think it says a lot too. There's something magical that happens when you're working on a poem with someone, and you're giving your all, and they're giving your all, and you're exposing yourselves to one another, and at the same time there needs to be a feeling of safety, and what I'm hearing today too is that's how people felt with her, that they, like Jessica said, she gave Chantay all her business, that she felt that comfortable and that safe with her. So Chantay, genuine, a very genuine spirit. So Lynn, don't go anywhere. Real quick, a reminder to everyone, if you're tuning in late, This is well worded. It's an open mic edition. It's a special edition. What we're doing tonight is we're celebrating the life of a poet who unfortunately left us too early, Chantay Legacy Leonard, out of Detroit. But she doesn't want to be remembered as a local poet because she went everywhere. She was about it, as we've heard. If you check in the description of the video, there is a link to a GoFundMe page to that you could donate to her family. And what we're also going to do, and for those of you who are watching live, later on we're going to put out information on how you guys can get her book. And to further that, I'd like to go back to Chantay's sister, Dana, and I don't know if your mother wants to get on, but I was hoping you guys could speak a little bit about the writings that didn't get published that you were talking about, and what people could look forward to from Legacy's writing.
Hi, this is Chantay's mom, Sonja Stuckey. Hello.
Yeah, she needs to get a little closer to the computer just so we can clearly hear her. And also, and you know, this is huge for Chantay's family to be on and to take part in this and give these blessings. And I'm honored to have you guys. So thank you very much for joining us. But yeah, just to let us know about the future of Legacy's writings, the lost poems, like the Nas lost mixtapes, but the lost poems of Chantay.
Yeah, actually, the lost poems were found while I was rearranging her apartment. So I have found that writers are not always the most organized people, and
I don't mean to cut you off. It's breaking up. I don't.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you better now. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yes, I found a lot of work when I was rearranging Chantay's apartment for her. She has just tubs and tubs of work, and it just needs to be organized. And she's probably got about enough work to make at least 5 or 6 more books. She's got plays that have never been used, and so the next few months we're going to be going through her work, looking through it. I'm going to have some of her friends look at it and see what's published worthy. And I know there's going to be more books coming out. She also had another dream that she was talking about doing. She wanted to open a coffee house here in the city of Detroit that was kind of reminiscent of Cafe Mahogany. And so we're looking toward putting some money together to open up the coffee house that she wanted to do. She wanted to have a place where people could come, where no liquor was going to be served, where young children, like kids in middle school, could come and they could really learn how to write and not just perform, because she was really concerned about the next generation. And that was part of her legacy, not just her work, but she wanted to have a venue where young and blossoming poets could come in safety of good mentors and really learn the craft of writing and reading and literacy and history and all of those things that make a good storyteller. So that was her dream, and that's one of my goals and her sister's goals, is to make sure that that gets done over the next few years.
Awesome, awesome. And as we spoke, I want to make sure I stay in contact with the family so that whatever does get put out, whatever publications, or when the cafe comes, whatever it is, I'd like to put it out there and so that people can have that information, put it out to the network. And also, you know, we had someone, shout out to Amin Valentin, who's watching it. He said that he unfortunately never got to meet her, and he wants to read more of her pieces. So, you know, through that, like I said earlier, she gets to live on. And I want to make sure that we put that out to the public so that they can know who she is, and her work and her life's work can continue on. So we have about 20 minutes left, and what I'd like to do is real quick, again, anyone watching, go to the GoFundMe page. The link is in the description, and you can also go look. I know Dana, the family's still keeping her Facebook going. Can you quickly explain what you guys have planned for her Facebook?
For her Facebook, we plan to continue to keep her page active, except we'll show it more as a memorial page, so people can continue to contribute. They can also look forward to maybe upcoming projects or work that will be in her honor. There are a couple of projects, like what my mom mentioned, about what we have in thoughts as far as moving forward. And we really want to keep in contact with the poetry community actively. Just to hear more shouts out. Thank you for your support. And we just want to keep her alive, because we are seeing how many people she's really touched. But yes, her Facebook page will still be active, her Twitter account, all of it.
Okay, so on Facebook, those who are watching, you could look up Chantay Legacy Leonard. The spelling of her name is in the title of this video. And can you let everyone know what the Twitter account is that they can go and follow her at?
It's Legacy Leonard. It's at Legacy. Yep.
Legacy Leonard. Go ahead.
Yeah. And if you do the hashtag, what is it? It's Legacy Lives. The hashtag is Legacy Lives. Then you can keep up with anything that we post. We'll be using that hashtag as well.
Okay, awesome. Now, on Saturday, this past Saturday, which was yesterday, there was a memorial for her in Detroit. So, and I know I saw some pictures online about it. And so, were there poems shared, or were people just speaking about her?
Yes. Actually, there were two. There were two different things that we did. The family decided to do, because Chantay touched so many people. We did both a memorial service, which was on Friday, and then on Saturday we did a send-off. And the memorial service, which was very powerful. We had some poets speak on her behalf. They shared poetry that was inspired by her. Her family came up, shared, and it was a large celebration. It was really not about us. It was about celebrating who Chantay was. And part of that was incorporating, her poetry family as well. Also on Saturday, we did another,
Another send-off?
I'm sorry. She's been a little misty here. This is her mom. We had a second ceremony on Saturday, which was a send-off. Chantay loved Ohio. She loved the Detroit River, and she wanted her ashes to be put in the Detroit River, but of course it's frozen over here. So on April the 11th, we're going to have another ceremony at the kickoff of the Middle Finger to Cancer. Her ashes are going to be put out on the Detroit River. Then we're going to have a brief ceremony for that. But we had lots of people, maybe about 200 people, and just people came up and showed their love. We had an open mic, we had food, and it was very intimate. LaShawn Phoenix, Halloran, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Phoenix, but better known as Phoenix. She did a short set. Jessica Karen Moore did a sister circle with one of Chantay's poems that was one of the last ones that she wrote. And it was just a beautiful celebration. All around. Everybody enjoyed themselves. A lot of love in the room.
Awesome. Again, I want to stress that I thank you, for the family, for you guys in joining us. I know that this is still recent and very fresh for the both of you. So I'm happy that you're joining us, and in the remembrance of Legacy, 'cause like I said, I'm in New York City, and we've got two other guests who are from California. So from coast to coast, your daughter reached out to people and touched people. So again, thank you so much. And again, I'm going to keep saying it. The GoFundMe page, the link is in the description of the video. So make sure that if you can, please go donate. And if you can't, you can share the link. It's for free. You're not going to have to pay to share the link, so please do that. And if possible, like what I'd like to do again is end it on some poetry. So I'm going to go back to San Diego with Tabitha. Do you have another poem of Legacy's or something inspired by her that you can share with us?
I do. It's called Quepepios, Butterflies. You ready? It's for the women and girls of Darfur. And what I think needs to be said before this is Legacy was more than just a poet. Legacy was Detroit. You asked Legacy about her city. She was Detroit. But what she recognized is the struggle of women like her in their cities and that same emotion. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. Heartbeats are the drum of war to girls cocooned in the canals of cervix canyons, wrapped in films of hopes, whispered prayers, and daybreak dreams. Butterflies are birthed on battlefields, wrinkled wings dripping afterbirth, first fruits of war wounds. Tears bless their antenna, sensing for the wind in the Sahara. Sacred waters weep, wells sealed and pried open. At the whim of the ungodly, thirsty, sacrifice ruby buds, rent hymens for penance. Bloodshed shall be her shahada. How long, Allah, before I am unveiled? How long, Allah, before I am unchained? Hijab shield my beauty, my wings wither in non-flight. Bullets punctuate my periods, spotting blood against a cloudless sky. Scarlet shame streaming down my thighs, the cramping shifts the bowels of the earth. Men speak of them as tremors, it speaks my discontent. Diamonds decorate irises, unblemished by the scorch of the sun. Aman, paying homage to every god, but her who bears life, but her who cycles as the rising of the moon. One part weary, one part warrior, all woman. Butterflies float between cracked earth, fractured skylines, wings spanning battlefields blush crimson. Tomorrow she shall gather her dead and fold them in her waist, place light kisses on cool foreheads, scream hellfire, spread wide her limbs and rebirth a flock of rainbows to scatter across the globe as the bejeweled blooms and glitter prisms for the sun to admire. Butterflies are birthed on battlefields, beautiful in blood-burning skies.
And what's the name of that poem again? Can you repeat it, please?
It is. It's called Butterflies.
It's called Butterflies. And is that poem in the book, or where did you get that poem from?
It's not in the book. I actually have like a lot of Chantay's work. Once upon a time, hip hop poetry went away, so I have a lot of the poems that she wrote. Like, these poems are pretty old. I think they're from like 2007 or 2008. I have them. I have a few of them saved from hiphoppoetry.com. Ones that she had posted in Ladies Lounge. I emailed a lot of the poems that were like my favorite that we had in Ladies Lounge to myself. So I have quite a few of her poems because I loved her and I stalked her poetry a little bit. But that's okay because we was friends and I could do that. But yeah, and Miss Stuckey, Dana, I'll make sure that these get emailed to you as well.
Thank you.
Yes, that's why I was asking, so that we could make sure that we could put it out there. I really like that poem you shared. So I really hope that get it to the family so that we could put it out there. So Tabitha, thank you for sharing. Thank you for taking the time. We're gonna jump now to back to Detroit.
Really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to run, but what I do want to say is Miss Stuckey, Dana got to see the love that I have for her sister in person, and we got to joke all night about how goofy me and Chantay were, I think, in the same space. But Jessica, Lynn, to so many other people, Chantay was so irreplaceable and so amazing, and I don't think I will ever be able to put into words how much Chantay has touched people and touched me in my life. at even my darkest of moments, not knowing who I was exactly, but always having her reinforcement to say, hey, you're here, so you gotta do what you gotta do here. So I just want to say that I loved her so much, so much. And the internet is tangible with Chantay. And like Leah said, it's so amazing to have a group of women and to have the strange roots and to really be able to say, like, the connection is tangible and the love was very real. And it is not something that I think will ever dissipate. Her impact was felt. And I don't know what to say beyond that, but just I loved her very, very much. And thank you so much for sharing her with us. Thank you so much.
And thank you for loving her.
Awesome, awesome. So Tabitha, if you have to go, it's okay. I'll be talking to you, and again, thank you for joining us, and I'm sure that Chantay's looking is very proud and is very honored the things you said. So thank you. Now we're going to jump to Detroit. One last time, we're going to speak with Jessica Care Moore, who again, you know, I have to put this out there. Jessica was at the memorial out there in Detroit. She did the things in person. She had a busy day today, and she ran home just to be on this live stream and this webcast, just to honor her friend. And you know, we're not gonna go on and on about what she went through just to be part of this, but she went through a lot just to be part of this. And I think it doesn't speak volumes about the webcaster or me and her. It speaks volumes about the love that she had for Chantay, to be able to do this. Like, now you're going to honor my girl, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to make sure it's done right. So, Jessica, is there another piece of legacies that you can share with us?
Yeah, I can read the whole book if you want. No, I'm kidding. I want to read the short thing she wrote real quickly. I'll read something else. Love in the time of. I yearn for more than you could give, as Eve desired to be more than Adam's rib. These are the consequences with which I live. Legacy Leonard. That's just a small piece in her book. But yeah, I want to read something else. I want to read a couple of her pieces, but I'll read this one. All right. Because, you know, she was a hopeless romantic, so a lot of her work is about love and her attempting to find love. But all poets are that, you know.
Yes.
And so. This is a shorter piece. I'm the queen of no destination relationships, lingering too long after goodbyes. Logic does not dictate my course of action. I'm a crash course of follies, princess of impracticality, skipping petals like possibilities and random lovers. If the moment feels right, I am along for the ride until metal crunches into burning corpses. I weep in the ashes, already knowing the intricity that awaits my inability to be alone. Foolish to be such a smart girl, grown woman with the need to spontaneously combust her heart into crimson confetti, constantly picking up the pieces, textbook definition of insanity. One day I will honor myself with more than this martyrdom. Stop sacrificing in the moment with no long-term reward. Love responsibly instead of recklessly. Treat my heart as blue chip stock investment, allowing no money changers in my tempo unless your portfolio has proven you worthy beyond all reproof. And that's, to me, like, that's such wish I could. That's where me and Legacy related as women, because we were both just like foolishly in love all the time, and always talking about our different boyfriends and different, you know, somebody, oh, I think this is the one, oh, I'm in love now, or this one is acting crazy, and this one acting crazy, and who I need to, it was always, but, you know, that's what poets do, that's what women do, and that's what Scorpion women do a lot. And I love the way she loved. I love that she loved. She's like, yeah, you know, we're going to crash and burn, or we're going to not do anything at all. It's not going to be fun if we ain't going to have a good time. It's not going to be passionate, or we love the way other people are afraid to love. And that's why so many people loved her, because she wasn't afraid to do it. You know, and some people are scared their whole lives, like, to fall in love because they don't want to get hurt. So these scary people by themselves, afraid to take a chance of loving a human being. But she wasn't afraid, and she took chances on people that some other people may not have taken chances on. And I can relate to that. I married people and had babies with people and had lives with people that other people and other women may like. I wouldn't have made that decision, or my family wouldn't have made that decision for me, but I still did it. And I don't have any regrets about who my choice is, because they all lead to the next thing, which is even greater normally. And so I applaud her heart, you know, for being the heart that it is, and the people that she loved. And that's what you're seeing on the show tonight, is that she gave a lot of love, and so people have loved her back, you know, fiercely. And so, yeah, I love that about her work too, because she wasn't a liar. And a lot of poets try to put, they don't try, they do put these very pretty words together, and they're able to like mystify audiences. But you know, someone who's a heavy reader like me, you know, it's difficult to impress me with like heady metaphor. You know, it's like I've seen and read all the best people, so that's difficult. But I can hear heart, and I can hear passion, and I can tell when somebody's authentic. And she was an authentic woman, and she was honest about her wine and about her flawlessness. You know what I mean? And her flaws, all at once. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
people would present themselves as these perfect human beings with nappy hair and all the right things and all the right incense burning, and nobody did no kind of drugs, and nobody ever slept with anybody that they weren't supposed to sleep with. Not, you know, everybody just so perfect. Those writers are boring, and so her work isn't boring because she wasn't boring. She was interesting, and she's a real human being that other regular girls, women could relate to, and I think that's why so many women loved her, is because we could look at her and say, yeah, well, yeah, that's me. I've been hurt on many occasions, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's why she's special. You know, there's a lot of poets out here, people who say they're poets, but they're not always cool people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
One of the things you mentioned, I thought about is like how like a true revolutionary individual is someone who loves greatly. It's not necessarily always this thick-skinned front of the line, ready to go to war all the time. It's those with a big heart, and we're hearing a lot of poems. We're hearing a lot of work that Chantay wrote. That's revolutionary. But what you're talking about, it kind of brings it all together. Like it came from the heart. It came from love with her. So. Again, Jessica, like I said, I know you went through a lot just to get on here, so I appreciate
I just had to get in front of this dang on computer. I went to Savior's Day today with my son and my family and stuff. So we're good. I had to get here. I do want to say that, you know, we do have the books and the proceeds from this book we have in print now will go to the family for the scholarship fund that they're creating, I believe, for Legacy's 3-year-old sister, or for whatever they want to put it towards. And so that book is at moreblackpress.com online. And then we'll work with Dana and the family to figure out other ways that people can get it. But if they want it shipped to like California or Chicago or whatever, that can happen as well.
Okay, can you one more time? Can you repeat the website that they could go and find it?
Right now it's at moreblackpress.com. MOORE blackpress.com.
MOORE blackpress.com. Awesome. I want to make sure I get that link out as well, because I know that's probably, at least within this network that I work within, that would be the best way to get it out there and to help raise the funds, is for people to get the book. So I'm gonna make sure I put that out there, and I'm glad you brought that up. It's important that the people know where they could get her work. So, you know, thank you for your time, for your words and
asking me. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I know it's 10 o'clock, but we're probably gonna go a little bit over because I want to make sure I give Lynn another chance to share another poem of Legacy's, and then we could finish off with Miss Stuckey if she has any closing words that she would like to speak about her daughter. So Lynn, the floor is yours. Let us know what you're sharing.
So I'm going to take one out of the book. Wait, can you see good?
Thank you for having it already.
I've had this for, like, since it first came out. I was like, Chantay, where's my copy? Like, you know I have to get a copy. So, yeah. I love the book. So this one's called Listen, Real Women. Real women strut the earth, daring storm clouds to obstruct our vision and the sun to taste our backsides. We walk with strength in our strides and ocean roll in our hips, Missile missives between lips. We let pride and pain slip in our backbones, straighten our spines, defy the world with iron eyes. Listen, bitches aren't born overnight. We are forged from fury and infamy. Typecast roles don't roll in the direction of our dreams. Our spirit sheaths waiting to be sharpened on the edge of frayed sanity. Taught to swallow instead of scream. Faces set like fateful dice cascading across cracked concrete. We perform contortions, distorting portions of our personalities to bend and bear the weight of the atmosphere on our backs. Slippery grasp on our identities. Women of color learn to paint outside the lines because white space is oppressive. We serve our babies bittersweet breast milk. Wisdom is sewn into tattered quilts, patchworking our ancestry and heritage into a semblance of remembrance. Surnames suppress us, but we whisper our true names in wind songs. Our native chants rattle tree boughs, leaving imprints in skies. Stars align for our footsteps, leading future daughters back to our graves long after the world has husked our souls from earthly shells. Listen. We want to protest for every silent death a woman has died within herself. Candlelight vigils for race victims. Free insert name here t-shirts for sisters who snapped after one too many blackened eyes and battered wounds. Healing bombs after abortion. Abandonment. Abuse. Aggravation. We want reparations for women with broken hearts and spirits. Homage paid to our heroines and freedom fighters. We want Dahomey goddesses broadcast as the image of beauty. We want the destruction of size zero standards, the eradication of eating disorders, new curriculums teaching us the measure of our minds and hearts determining our true worth. We dream of a space where we claim our voices unashamedly, where our sisterhood is sincere, where our daughters thrive without limits, where misogyny and sexism do not scourge and subject, where our feminism is treated as sacred. We declare war on the idealisms and imagery that disrespects and denigrates us. We will raise altars to our own selves. Our bodies will be temples, wombs are sanctuaries, becoming our own heaven. The world will acknowledge us for all that we are, women. Without us, there is no life.
Powerful. Powerful.
I was drawn to that one. I get really drawn a lot to her poems that deal with sisterhood and women kind of overcoming and going through like what we go through, but going through with like grace and strength. If I had to name any one of my girlfriends that really reminded me that sisterhood does exist between women, it would just be Chantay. Like she didn't just write poems empowering women, like she lived it. Like she just
genuine.
everything like genuine, like what you saw of her, like I mean, like you didn't want to double cross her. Like we were at Wow Whips once, and she always made a point, and I used to love. She couldn't walk more than 5 feet without someone stopping her to say hi, because she knew everybody, and she always made a point of every person she stopped, she'd say, Scorpiana, do you know so and so? So she would always introduce. And one time, like, somebody stopped her to say hi and was talking to her, and she didn't introduce me. And we got, like, about maybe 20 feet away, and she just leaned over, and she's like, I didn't introduce her because she's just not, you don't want to know her. Like, and that was, like, very, very, like, rare, but she was like, yeah, I just can't be bothered. But, like, you had to, like, really piss her off for, like, that, too, because she was very, like, very forgiven. Like, she was very, just like if you didn't know her, it's impossible to just describe her. Because somebody said to me, like, you talk about her like she's like, people aren't really like that, and I'm like, no, like, we're not saying like she never has faults, but she was such an incredible, amazing person. Like, everything was about supporting other people, supporting other women, supporting her friends and family, like that.
And bringing people together, connecting. That's something that I've noticed, and what you were saying was alluding to was connecting. Awesome. Lynn is out in San Jose. Again, we've had a guest from San Diego. Lynn's from San Jose. I'm from New York City, so from coast to coast, Legacy's been touching people. We're also joined by Jessica Caremore, who's in Detroit. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to end this with Legacy's family. Dane is with us now. I'm going to give you the floor to end it. So I don't know if you want to end it with a poem of hers, or if you want to end it with a story or a saying or something you want people to know about your sister that we didn't get to cover within the show. So I don't know if you want to do it, or if your mother wants to. It's whatever you guys feel is proper.
I think the one thing about my sister is that writing, it was more than just about poetry. It was just about her writing, period. Whether it was stories or it was her diary. It really started with her diaries and her journals. And we would just have these times where I was an annoying little sister, and I would just go get her stuff and read it. And she would get really angry at me all the time. She had this first little, it was like a little teddy bear when my mother bought from her at Walmart. I'm sorry, not from Hallmark. And there was a lock on it. And I got the lock and I unlocked her diary. And I would always get into her stuff, and whether it was stories or it was poems, things of that nature, it's like I always got into it. And that's where that imagination comes from. There is like one small story that my mom wanted to share.
Yeah. By all means, please.
This is just something that I wanted to share about Chantay. After she passed away on Sunday, February.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I guess because the mic you have is directional. So if you get either put I think we'll hear you better now. It's talking directly.
All right.
There we go. From the beginning, please.
Okay. Chantay passed away on Sunday, February 9th at about 12:15. And I was here going through some of the things that she left in my house, and I found a journal that she had kept when she was living here. And it only had one entry in it, and it said the thing that she feared most was not even death. It was living a mediocre life. And so I guess I just want to leave the thought with everybody that there was nothing mediocre about Chantay Legacy Leonard. Anytime you have the audacity to call yourself a legacy while you're still around, that shows you what kind of person she was. So, I just tell everybody, hey, if you want to let legacy live, just do everything you can. Live your life in excellence, live your life to the fullest, and don't let anything stop you, because she was truly an overcomer. And I think it's obvious in her work. I think it's obvious in the testimony that she left behind, and the lives that she touched. And I want to thank each and every one of you for giving her this time to honor her memory. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
We love you. Thank you for holding us up here in Detroit. Her mom is a gift to us in this community, and she's been really taking care of us.
Yeah, I just got to connect with her mom on Facebook, and I'm seeing the post. People talk, say a lot of things about social media, but social media can be a pretty good reflection of who people are, and that seems to be the consistency that I have seen with the family is that it comes from a spiritual place, a place of love, a big heart, and I'm getting to further understand who Legacy was because of that. So it's still fresh. It's not too long ago that she passed, but tonight we want to celebrate her life. I know there was some tears shed and some sad stuff, but we want to celebrate her life. I personally believe life is a gift. I feel blessed in the interactions that I've had with Legacy to see that, as a lot of people have alluded to tonight, that she was real and she was genuine. So once again, thank you to Tabitha in San Diego. Thank you to Lynn in San Jose, and representing Chantay's hometown, Jessica Caremore, and of course her Chantay's family, Dana Stuckey, her sister, Miss Stuckey, her mother, for joining on. So for the last time, the GoFundMe link is going to be in the website. I mean, in the description of the video. Mooreblackpress.com, MOORE, blackpress.com. You can go and you can purchase Legacy's book. And in the chat, they were asking, Jessica, can you repeat the name of the title of the book?
Oh, I Have Come Forth by Day. It's there.
I have come forth by day, so we're going to make sure that we get that out to everyone, and Dana's putting it up too. And again, Dana, you and your mother, I know that for it's the most difficult for you guys, so I'm happy that you're able to take this time out and share with us, and to have shared your sister with the entire world. So I appreciate that. All of my thoughts and prayers go to you guys. And like I said, stay in contact. Whatever you guys put out about her, I will put it out to the network as well to keep her legacy going. And I liked what your mother had just said about, she called herself Legacy while she was still around. The audacity. That's just gangster. Gangster. So so ladies, stick around while I end this broadcast. We'll stick around, talk for 1 minute afterwards, and thank you for sticking around for as long as you did. So everyone watching, please go to the website, check it out. Of course, subscribe to my stuff, and I'm gonna make sure I put the information to each of our guests who joined us today, so you can find out more about them, and you can see how Legacy has touched them. And how awesome each of our guests are in their own right, including Legacy's family and her mother. And real quick, Dana, your mother is a artist as well, correct?
Yes, my mother, she has been a writer ever since the earliest I know of her work is her teenage years. But yeah, she's done. She started off doing poetry and journalism, and she's moved forward and now more on the spiritual level. She's produced a lot of work. We do a lot of youth. I do youth work, and she works with curriculums to work with youth. So that's some of the work that she has out right now. So yeah, she comes from a line of writers.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. So
can I share just one thing?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I started off as a poet. I was never as good as my daughter, but actually, for Wordz Montgomery had very popular. He used to eat dinner at our house, and I used to get poetry lessons from him because he was a friend of my stepfather's. So, she, like Dana said, she did come from a family that was exposed to real good writing. As a matter of fact, Brian Milner used to come to our house for dinner as well. This was like back in the 70s when I was a little girl. So I've been exposed to a lot of good writers. And I was never as good as my daughter, but I used to come at the place called Grandma's House. If you guys know what that is, you probably don't even know what that is. It was a place, it was a venue back in the 70s. But I wanted to make sure that my daughter got exposed to, to be able to do her craft and do it very well. So I'm glad that we were successful at that.
Awesome. It's in her bloodline. She's carried it. She honored the family tree well. Honored the family tree well. So thank you to everyone who watched it, whether it's through the live stream or you're watching the recorded version. And we will see you next Sunday, same place, same time. And like I said, please go check out Legacy's work. Go check out, get the book, the funding donations. And if you got no funds and you broke, no judgment, but you can pass on the link to others and let people know. And we keep her alive. If you want to honor Legacy, one of the ways that you really can is to do what a poet dreams of, and that's to remain immortal through their work from time, and decades and centuries. So, again, I've been the host, advocate of Wordz. Thank you to the guests for joining us, and we will catch you guys later. Peace.